Hey folks, welcome back. In a lifetime, there are only very few people that we can count on who leave an indelible mark on our hearts. Individuals we truly admire very deeply, whose respect is earned through their every action. One such person is the person behind Ratan Tata, an icon held in the highest esteem, with respect as deep as the ocean and as tall as the Mount Everest, has inspired generations through his selfless contributions across the world, his unwavering dedication to the betterment of the society, a family, and his humility, a vision for a better future will forever live on our hearts. Ratan Tata's legacy lives on forever. Huge salute to his contributions. Thank you so much. Now let's jump on to our application. So what is it that we are going to build in this video? It's going to be a very simple and quick one. At every keystroke of our keyboard, how can we generate an image in real time? And that's what we are going to build in this application. Like we see the suggestions, auto-completions in any of the browser while we are trying to find out the answer for a question, the same way for every word that we are typing, we're going to see the variations of images generating in real time. And that's what we're going to build in this video. Excited to see the demo part first? Well, let's see that in action now. Okay, so this is the simple UI. So do not focus on the beauty of this UI application, but the intent is to showcase the real-time generation of images. Beautifying of this UI can be done even at a later point of time. Okay, so now let's start playing with this, and I'm going to show you. So let's start asking for some prompt. A wide angle shot of an Indian grandmother walking in the streets of busy New York with red Sindhi on her forehead, accompanied by laughing grandfather in a white lungi with turban on his head. Wow, can you see now? So this is the prompt that I asked. Wide angle shot of an Indian grandmother walking in the streets of busy New York with red Sindhi on her forehead, accompanied by a laughing grandfather in a white lungi with turban on his head. So I was asking this, but the number of calls that I limited this. So I'll show you how I applied the rate limitation as well, so that we don't over crowd the API, and also the bill that we see, it's not going to be huge. Okay, so you can see this is the image that I got for this prompt, and it was generating in real time for every word that I was adding. So if you wanted to see what are the images that it generated, so this is the image that we were in. So from starting, I'm going to show you. So this is the image that it started with, and then this image, and then image of grandma in a surrounded by buildings. Okay, and then this was this image. After this one, then improving as I keep on asking the question, and you can see now how we were able to generate images in real time. And that's the beauty of this application. That's how we are going to build. So you saw that I did limit the calls and showcase the toast message that you can try again in the next 24 hours. Now let's see, how did I rate limit the number of calls that user is making to your application. So I used Upstash Redis as a service platform. I created a database called KeyStrokeImagen. So here we are trying to keep track of the number of calls that we are receiving against a particular IP address. So if you can see, so this is where I'm keeping track of how many calls that I'm getting against particular IP, and there's a threshold of the number that I'm keeping track of. If it's exceeding that, so we are showcasing a toast message saying that you have exceeded the limit, please do try in the next 24 hours. Okay, so once you create this, what you need to collect from this platform is you need to copy the Redis REST URL along with that Redis REST token, so that we will be using this as an environment variables in our application. So collect this one. So after this, I'm using one more application for observability, Helicone.ai. So this application I'm just using to keep track of how many calls are successful, how many are throwing in errors, and from which user I'm getting the calls and all that things. So the analytics data that we normally keep track of, from which country, and these are the calls that I'm making to Black Forest Labs Flux.1 Schnell model, so which is really powerful in generating images in real time, and that's really very uh, realistic in generation, and it's also very productive, and it's the trending model in image generations and all. So it's just for the analytics tracking, so you can just refer the documentation and collect the API key of this thing. Also, it's pretty straightforward. If you just visit the documentation, you should be able to get that. So after that, the main important thing for us to generate image is that we need an API key of Together.ai. So as once you navigate to api.together.xyz website, you create an account, and once you're created, you will be navigated to this playground, and that's where you can have your API key. So for example, if I wanted to show the API key, how I can take of this one. So once you go to the settings sections of your account, in the API key section, you have your this key. Copy this, and we'll be using this to generate images. Okay, so these are the three things that we need to get started with our application. And once we are good with that, we'll be building this simple minimal UI application along with the integrations which I just gave a walkthrough about. Okay, so let's get started with our build part then. As usual, I pulled up the terminal, so let's just create a simple starting app. So I'm just naming this as KeyStrokeImagen. So once it creates, so I'm just going to select all the default options that's suggested. So we're creating this application Imagen. So let's wait for it to have us the boilerplate code. Okay, so it did create. So I'm just opening this one in editor. Okay, so let me just open this terminal, and also I'm just going to make the size of this bigger so that you guys can see better. Okay, and let's run this application. Okay, so it did start, so let's pull up that in a browser. Yeah, so that's the starting point. So I'm just going to have this one in the left side and the output that we can see in the right side. And so that this time I guess the font of the editor is I think it's visible. So if still not, so please do comment. I'm going to change that. Okay, so this is the starting point of our application. So we'll just get rid of the main things that we have in our home page. So as usual, so I'm just going to get rid of all of those things. So let's select the whole div and get rid of this and just have the empty div. Yep. Okay, fine. So let me just add a simple header which just says the title of our application, and then we'll get started from there. So I'm going to wrap this in this header, and inside this div let's have our title. Okay, so here I'm just going to have the title of our application as the KeyStrokeImagen. Okay, so it's here. So let's try to style this. Text, let's make this to be 4 times XL. Fine. And I'm just going to add the gradient to text from, let's say, I'm just going to use some pink color to yellow. This also, let's keep this as 500, so it applied to the background. So we need to clip that, apply to text. So we'll just apply this one, bg clip text, and also all I have to do is make the text also the transparent. Yep. Okay, so now we have this applied, but we want it to be, and also let's make the font also to be bolder. Okay, and we want this to be somewhere in the center, I mean at the top or the center section. So for that let's first make this the main div that we have as a flex, and the height I'll make it as a full, so the direction to be column, and some padding in all the direction. And now for this header, let's make this also as a flex, justify center, some padding at the top so that we have some space. Yes. And if it's a medium screen, so I'm just going to add this justify end. Okay, yeah, and okay, fine. Yeah, so it looks good enough now. So we have the title in place on our application, and so I'm just going to add in here one more the helper label or the text that I can collect the API key of the Together.ai, which I showcased before. So so as of now, so with whatever we will be building, so this is a way to let you guys know that we can add our own API key to experiment with our application, else rate limit with whatever the API key we have provided to this application. Okay, so for that just below this div, so let's try to add a simple div with the label that so I'm just going to add in this label. So text size, let's make this one to be extra small, and make this as the gray color. Okay, so I'm just going to be specify this as the optional. Okay, and here we are going to say that add your API key and all. So this one below this I can add in this reference to where we can get the API keys of it. So that one I'm just going to get it from, I mean the link for that, it's going to be this https, then the api.together.xyz settings / API keys. Okay, that's where we can get the API keys if we have created an account. Okay, so and the target, so let's just add in this blank. Okay, and the styling for this I'm just going to add in this underline effect. First let's fix this error, and then so that we can see the reflection on our UI. Okay, fine. So here I'm just going to add in this Together API key. Okay, fine. And this coming down to the styling, let's say I'm just going to add in this offset 4 and apply this transition on hover. I'm just going to change the text color to blue, so it's just the so yep. Okay, fine. So that's the thing. So below this one, so the label, so I need to add this one, wrap this anchor tag inside this. Yep. And now here below this, I'm just going to add in the input field so that we can collect the API key and use that to generate the images. Okay, so for that I'm just going to use the ShadCN. So let's just use the components of ShadCN. So here I'm just going to add latest init and default, whatever the suggestions that we have that it suggests. I'm going to use those things. So let's wait, and once it is installed, so that I can use the input component where we can collect the user's API key. Fine. So now I'll have to add this at the rate latest add input. Okay, so input is added, so that now I can import this component, and this placeholder value I'm just going to set this one to API key. So let me just close this. Fine. Okay, so we have that thing. So, and also the theme, I need to change this one to black. Okay. I'll change that. Okay, so fine. So let's focus on the important thing. So password, and here the value that I am going to collect is we need to collect whatever the user is going to enter. So that one, so what I'm going to do, let's maintain one state variable for that. So this is going to be let's name this as something user API key, set user API key. So use state initially false. Okay, so and now what I am going to do is, for now, let's say whatever the input that we have, I'm going to use this, the state variable which I just created, and it's going to be the string. So let's change this one boolean to string. So this value, whatever we are going to store in this user API key, that's what will be showcasing in this input. And now this on change callback event, I need to update the user API key value. So here we are going to just change this one to e.target.value. So whatever user is entering, will be updating that value in this variable. And what is the issue? Okay, that's because I need to make this one as a client since we are using use state hooks. Yep. And now this styling for this a bit. So what I'm going to do, let's make this margin top 1, and background, let's apply some gray color. okay, and text lighter gray, okay, and placeholder also let's add in this 300. Okay, fine. So I'll need to take care of this styling. So what I will do is, let me change in our layout thing. So going to this layout.tsx, what I'm going to create in here is in the body I'm going to have this dark set to true, so that we have this the dark theme. Fine, and let's have this height full, so minimum height I'm just going to make sure it's going to be full. Okay, and also this background length, let's say the 6 pixel. Fine. So yeah, so just we change the theme to black. Okay, fine. So now I wanted to create an endpoint where I can talk to the Together service. So for that one, so let's create this API inside this API folder. So I'm just going to name that endpoint as generate image, and inside that we are going to have the simple route.ts file. Okay, and in here there will be three things that I wanted to use. One is to rate limit using the Upstash Redis, so that we can restrict per day like 5 prompts or something like that, so that we don't overcrowd our Together API calls. And also the Helicone I'll be using to keep track of how many calls that we are making, and also that okay by the user. So for that I need some dependency, so I'm going to add in first the Together AI so that we can generate the images, and Jot for validation, making sure whatever I'm expecting as an input for the endpoint, I'm validating using that. And the Upstash, like I said, to rate limit. So Upstash rate limit, and this Upstash Redis. Okay, fine. So let's install this. So once we install this, I can just create the rate limit object, and also the okay there is an error. Okay, there is an issue with rate limit. So what I'm going to do first, let me install this too, and then we'll install the Upstash related dependency. So that one, let me install now. Redis. Okay, and here the rate limit. Yep. So we have now all the dependency that we want. So let's create the global of variable, which is the rate limit, so that I can create a rate limit object. So I'm just going to use this one, so it can be of this type or undefined. So I'm just going to specify that, and here I'm going to create here this environment file. So let's just close in here. So first let me create example. So in this I'm going to have 3 environment variables. One is together API key. So I just showed you how to get that, and one is Helicone API key. Okay, and then this Upstash Redis REST URL. Okay, fine. So these are the three things that we need. So if you want, you can just go ahead and add this Upstash Redis REST token as well. Okay, fine. So now going back here, so inside this, so those are the examples which I just showcased. So I need to create actual environment file. So let's just do that .env, and for now I'm just going to add these values at the end of this so that I can test it. I'm not going to show those values. Okay, fine. So here this process, if this process.env as this Substash, so I'm just making this code as flexible so that if you wanted to limit the calls, you can just check this and then only create rate limit, or else you can skip this part. Okay, so Redis REST URL, and here if this is a true, then we are going to create the new rate limit object, which is of type rate limit. So here the options that we are going to pass in is this Redis dot from env. Okay, and here this limiter. So what I'm going to do is use this rate limit fixed window, and I'm just going to, so basically we are going to allow 100 requests per day for an user based upon IP address. Like it's on an average it's like 5 to 10 prompts. Okay, so and the duration, so I'm just going to, yep, in minutes per day, fine. And the analytics, yes, I'm just enabling it's true. And the prefix, what I'm going to add in this, our application name, KeyStrokeImagen. Okay, fine. So now we have this rate limit, so that's fine. So let's create the endpoint. So in here, this export as sync function post, we are going to receive this request. Okay, and let's collect this JSON. So await request.json, and here I'm just going to validate the thing using our jar. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that this prompt, which is going to be of type string, and then the other thing, like is it iterative mode, what are the props that we can pass to this endpoint. I'm just you can refer to Together docs. I will show that in a while. This is going to be Boolean type. Okay, and then this user API key if provided. So I'm just going to make this as optional. So only if provided we're going to use this, or else not. So I'm going to parse this JSON that we are receiving in a request, so I can destructure them, the prompt, the user API key, and the iterative mode. Okay, so once we collect these values, here let's add in again the optional observability so that we can see how many calls that we are making to generate the images or something like that. Okay, so here again this is optional, so I'm just going to add in this. So this one, this is going to be of type together. Okay, fine. And inside this, so again this one, if just checking if we have this API key set up, this the Helicone API key, then I'm just going to set the base URL of this as the so it's clearly mentioned so how to integrate the Helicone into our application. So I will show that also in a while in the docs. It's straightforward. just refer their docs and it should be useful, very helpful for us. And we need to set this default headers. Okay, so here I need to set this Helicone auth, so which should be the environment API value. So this is going to be Helicone API key, so I'm just going to pass on that value here as an authentication. And then the other property is Helicone property to just specify based upon this user API key, so this true or else false. Okay, so we can enable observability using this one, so if not you can just skip that. Now let's prepare the client of Together, so this Together, and we are going to pass in this options. Okay, so Together, the issue I'm seeing is, okay, I need to create an object. Okay, fine. So now if this user API key we have, so I'm just going to set this client.api key to whatever the user API key, and also I'm just going to check if we have this rate limit. Okay, and we don't have this user API key, so we need to identify from which user it is coming from. So what we are going to do, since we are not adding any database to keep track of which user is logging and all that thing, so what we can do, try to identify the user by IP address. So let's just create a quick function which is going to give the IP address from which the request is coming from. So here I'm just adding this function get IP address. Okay, so here let's have some fallback IP address which is going to be the all zeros. Okay, so I'm just going to, in case if we couldn't find, okay, so here I'm just specifying this. Okay, and let's collect this in the forwarded for. So all we can do is use this headers and try to get the X forwarded for. Okay, so that it's what we'll be getting the IP address. Okay, so if we have this value, some value inside this, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to split this one by comma and get the first value. If not, we are just going to return this fallback IP address. Okay, else I'm just going to get this headers function X real IP. Okay, or else this fallback IP address. Okay, so this is going to give us the IP address. So it's the simple function. So now we'll make use of this here to get the identifier. Okay, so here I'm just going to create this identifier using this function which we just created. Okay, so and I'm just going to check this the whatever the rate limit object that we have created. So I'm just going to destructure whether it's successful or not, so limit based upon this identifier. So if it's not successful, that means he has exceeded the limit. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to straight away respond saying that, so let's use this next response JSON, and the message that I'm going to set is no request left, please add your own API key, or something like that similar. Or let's say we say that you can try it in next 24 hours. Okay, try again in 24 hours. Okay, and the status code for rate limiting, it's the 429. That's the standard status code. So that is what we'll be sending in here. Okay, fine. So if that's not the case, now we are going to make the actual response. So let's try to collect the response in this variable, and I'll try to do this in the try catch block. So here this response, let's this client dot images, we are trying to create image, and first thing, the inputs for this will be passing in the prompt, and the model, it's the important, so we are using Flux.1 Schnell model, which is from Black Forest Labs. Okay, that's the trending in generating images now, so which is really good for generating real-time images. So we are going to specify this Flux.1 Schnell model from Black Forest Labs. This is the model name. Okay, fine, and the width that we want it to generate is of this, and height, I mean, we can make this also a dynamic param coming from the user, from UI or something like that, but I'm not providing that option for now. Okay, so here's 768, and the seed based upon iterative mode, so 1 2 3, else I'm just going to set this as undefined, and steps 3. Okay, and this response format, I'm just going to say this one to be base 64. So this one, to avoid this type error, so I'm just going to add in this expect error. Okay, TypeScript to avoid this. Fine, so that's the thing. And now inside this catch block, if there is any error, we are just going to return the same. So JSON, so here let's just return whatever this error that we are getting. Okay, and along with that, the status code that I'm going to pass on is the 500 some internal server error. Okay, so that's the thing. And finally, what we are going to do is return the response dot JSON, whatever we have this in response dot data of 0. Okay, so this is the endpoint, so which is going to help us generate the images and some validation and some rate limiting and observability we just added. So this is a like simple route with the additional checks and all. Fine, so now the endpoint that we have is in place. So let's go to our main page where we wanted to create some text area input where user can type prompt and see the real-time generation of the images just below that and all that thing. So for that, I wanted to use a 10 stack React query to call to this endpoint so that it acts as a better cache and retry options and all. It provides a very good option for that. So let's install that dependency, the 10 stack React query. So once we have that, I wanted to create the provider file so that I can wrap all of our React component children inside this provider. So this is, I'm just creating here this file so that I can create the query client and also the function where I can wrap all of our children. So let's make this one as a client side component, and here let's prepare the query client object, new query client, yes. Okay, and here the cache, I'm just going to set in here this on error callback function. So here this error I can just add in some toast message. So for that again I'm just going to add in React or toast, which is the simple way of showcasing toast messages. So let's add in that. So once we add in that, I'm just going to show in here this toast error message. So let's import this toast from React or toast. Okay, so let's show this error, whatever we are seeing, this error dot message, and I'm just going to slice. Okay, so just this is the query client. Okay, now I'm just going to export the default provider function. So let's name that as the providers. Okay, and the props for this is going to be all of our React components children. So this is going to be of type React node, and inside this all we are going to do is whatever the client provider that we have from the stand stack, attach in the client which we just prepared above, and inside this I'm going to wrap every children, and we'll have this toaster. Okay, yeah, so this is the simple provider, and now this one we'll have to use this in our layout so that I can wrap all of the children here. So here I'm just going to use this provider and wrap the children inside this. Okay, simple. Yeah, so now we have this React query integrated. So going to this main page, so after this input, what we want is a text area where user can enter his prompt. So just below this header, let's create this div. So here this is going to be a form, the styling and all will come back to this, and I'm just going to add in this in field set, and again this one let's add in this div. Now the actual thing, the text area I wanted to add in here. So even for that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the text area component of shardcn. So let's just install the text area component of it, and then we'll make use of that. Okay, so it's installed. So now I can import that component, text area. Okay, so let me just close this and see this in action. Okay, the rows I'm restricting it to 4. Okay, and spell check, let's just disable this placeholder. Let's say like describe your image is what our placeholder text it's going to be, and I'm just going to make sure it's required, and the value we need to store this again in one state variable. So let's create the state variable to store the user's prompt. So here I'm just going to add in this prompt variable, the set prompt. Again this is going to be a string. Okay, fine. So here I'm just going to set that value into our prompt variable which we just created, and on change we just need to update the prompt variable whatever the user is typing, so which will be in the c.target.value. And the styling, so let's make this width full. Okay, and the resize I'm just going to apply none. Border, let's make some gray color, and border opacity, let's say 50. Okay, yep. And the background I'm just going to make this as a gray color, like yeah, we can change that if it it is not looking good. Later on, the color, it's again up to our choice. Okay, so here this padding in the x direction for, and let's make this text as base, and again placeholder. I'm just going to make that color as gray color again, 300. Okay, fine. So for now, or don't worry about the color thing and all, we will change that. So yeah, okay, so this is the text area. Now I need to style this so that it looks better. So first, the main div, let's make this as a flex, and justify this center. Okay, fine. And here let's have some margin top, and also width, I want it to be full so that now it takes the whole width of the screen. And the max width, let's have this one. Max width that this can take is of large thing. Okay, and I wanted to make this as a relative so that I can add in a div with an absolute styling, and just a showcasing spinner. Okay, so just below this I'm just going to add in that div. So here let me just add in the spinner icon. So for that what I'm going to do, let me just create a simple spinner component, so which is going to be very quick one. So let's create in here spinner.tsx. okay, so this one, so just let's try to avoid this error. So I'm just not going, yeah, so we see something on the screen. So this one, so this is going, we are going to name this function as spinner, and this one I'm just going to provide here the type as component props without ref, and so this is going to be like span. Okay, fine. So here let me just restructure what I want, the class name and other rest props. Let's keep this as it is. Okay, fine. So here we are going to wrap this inside this span, and this class I'm going to make this relative and display as a block, and opacity, let's say I'm going to make this one as 0.65. okay, and the other class name whatever we are sending, and whatever the rest we have, I'm just passing on to this. So here let's just take some array of size let's say 8, and I'm just going to get this keys. Now we are going to iterate through that each index, and inside this I'm just going to have this the animation span. Okay, so the styling for this, so again make this absolute, the left let's calculate this one by 50%. okay, it's just the simple calculation, so you can just tweak this based upon the gap you need from our left part of our screen. Okay, fine. And this top, it's going to be 0, and height I'm just going to set this to 100%. Width I'm just going to set it to 12.5%. okay, so these values you can play with it and change whichever works for you. And this one animate, what I'm going to do, so let me just add in the styling for this. So in our global.css, I think I can ignore that for now. Maybe I'll add it at the end of the video, the spinner effect and all. Okay, yeah, so the styling for this spinner, we will come back to this. Just the loader, so just a better way of showcasing it. Okay, and the style, you can just add some transform. I'm just adding some rotate effect. So this one, let's say 45 into whatever the index we have, we rotate by that degree. Okay, and this, the animation delay, again this one, let's just calculate this by, I'm just subtracting whatever the value that we have, 8 values by current index, and this milliseconds, let's say 800 milliseconds. Okay, fine. So still this styling, we will change this at the end of this video. But yeah, so this is the spinner component. So now going back to our page, I'm just going to add in this spinner component which we just created here. So here the spinner component, and I'm just going to pass in the size as 4. Okay, yep. So after this we will have one toggle button which is going to just let the user enable or disable to achieve consistency mode or not. So basically what does this mean is whenever we are trying to generate images, so it doesn't change the background of it, or like uses the same context to just improve on top of that. If it is disabled, it's going to create a new image based upon the prompt that user is entering. Okay, so that one. So inside this, let's again have this label, and inside this I'm just going to add in this consistency mode. Okay, and let's just add some margin top, and also text, I'm just going to make it smaller, and if it's a medium, let's have this text at the right side. Okay, and this title of this, I'm going to set use earlier images as references, and styling for this, I'm just going to apply this inline flex and items center, and let's have some space, gap of 2. So here I'm just going to add in this switch component from this cn. So here, once that is installed, I'm just going to use that switch component, and again for this one I need to, okay, let's import this one. So let's just copy this one. So this is going to be switch, and the component name, it's going to be switch. And to keep track of this, I'm going to again create one more local state variable, which is, I'm just going to name this as iterative mode. So set iterative mode, and this one, let's just set this value to false. Okay, so the error we are receiving here because we need to pass on the values to the switch component. So I just added that state variable. So we're going to pass on this variable to this, and on checked change, so we are going to update this value. So yeah, so this is just the simple switch component. Okay, so now we have the text area, we have switch component and all, and now we need to make a call to the endpoint and try to show the images that we are receiving from that on our UI screen. So for that, what I'm going to do, let's first create the list for us to store the generations. Okay, so here I'm just going to create this variable called generation. So this is use state, so this is going to be of type, so by default I'm just going to have this empty array. So but here I'm just going to have this type, so the prompt associated with this and also the image. So this image I am going to create the type for that, so let's just name that as image response. So this is going to be like this, base 64 JSON, which is going to be a string, and then the timings. Okay, so here this inference. Okay, so I'm just going to use this image response as a type for this. So and this one is going to be array of this type. Okay, so that's for generations. Okay, and also the I'm going to use debounce hook so that we doesn't make calls frequently. So for this, what I'm going to use, I'm just going to use the use hooks dependency, where I have this all this reusable hooks from this UI.dev use hooks. So from here I'm just going to make use of the use debounce hook. Okay, so for this I'm just going to add in here this as something like, let's say, a debounced prompt, and let's just import this one from the dependency which we just installed. So I can import this one from UI.dev use hooks. So I'm just going to so use debounce, and for this the thing that I need to provide is the prompt and the delay. Okay, so it's 300. Okay, fine. So I have that, and I'm just going to try to make a query to our endpoint using our use query hook from React query. So here the thing that we'll be getting is data. So this is going to be I'm just renaming it as image, and the is fetching status. Okay, fine. Now inside this, let's provide the placeholder data. So this is going to be, I'm just going to keep this the previous data as the placeholder data. So okay, and the query key, so the query key is I'm going to pass in this debounced prompt, the query function, and let's make this as the asynchronous function, and this is where we'll make an actual call to our endpoint. So thus await fetch, and the endpoint that we have created is API generate images, and method this it's going to be a post, and headers I'm just going to pass in this content type, which is this application slash JSON, and after this the body. So the body I'm just going to stringify and send the prompt, the user API key, and then the iterative mode. So this is what we were validating in our job also. So this is what we'll be sending to this endpoint, and once we send we just check if the response it's not okay or not. So if it's not okay, so we are going to throw this error message with text. Okay, fine. And if everything is fine, so I'm just going to get this response JSON as this image response. Okay, so yeah, this is what we will be getting. And when this will be enabled, so this based upon this debounce prompt, if we have this value inside this, okay, and the stale time, I'm just going to provide here the infinity and retry. Let's disable this, so I'm just setting this to false. Okay, so this is the query that we have just prepared. And now let's have so now let's create one variable, whether we are debouncing it or not. So this one, if prompt, if this is not equal to debounce prompt, and inside this thing, let's try to set the generations. We need to keep updating the generations based upon the result that we're getting in image, so that we can do in use effect hook. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap everything inside this use effect hook, and the logic that we will be rendering this based upon the generations and also the image, the data that we are getting from the API call, and then the prompt whenever user is trying to change. So here so if we received some data, and this generations dot map we are just checking if this image includes the image or not. Okay, so if only if doesn't include, only then I'm updating this generations list. So this generations, so I'm just going to go through whatever images we have, and let's just have all the images as it is. And additionally, I'm just going to add in this prompt along with that the image. Okay, so fine. And also let's we will be showcasing all the generations below, so you can select the current the respective index and see that in the view mode. So for that also, let's just maintain a simple state variable. So I'm just going to create here this as the active index. So set active index. So this one is going to be of type number because we are setting the index value. So here also I'm just going to update that one. So the index this active index to whatever the size of the generations array is. Okay, so this is this use effect, and that's how it's going to help us. And now I just wanted to keep track of the active image as well. So this active image, if this active index is not equals to the undefined, then this whatever we have at this index in our generations list, we are going to set that image value, else we'll just set this undefined. Okay, so fine. So now we have the way to call an API, and now all we need to do is add in a div section where we can showcase the images that are being generated. So that one, what I can do, after this div, let's create a div, and here I'm just going to check if we don't have active image or prompt. Okay, then we'll show some text saying that you can generate images in real time and enter a prompt, something like that. So just to show some message. Okay, so inside this, let's close this div. Okay, so let me just create here this one more div so that we don't see an issue. Okay, fine. So inside this div, I'm just going to have this text, like let's say generate images in real time. Okay, so that's the text that we are seeing. Styling thing we will take care. So after this thing, again I can add some text like that, enter a prompt and generate images in milliseconds as you keep on typing. Okay, yeah, something like this. And yeah, I think that's the thing. And styling wise, first of all, let's make this as a flex, and also width, occupy full width, and I'm just going to apply this grow and also the direction to be column. Let's just center these items, justify also center, and let's have some padding bottom and also at the top, let's say 4, and text let's align it at the center. Okay, just the normal styling, fine. And for this thing, max width I'm just going to restrict to extra large. Okay, and if it's the medium, so let's say 4 times that. And if it's again larger screen, let's have this width to 3 times extra large. Okay, fine. And the coloring of this text, size of this, I'm just going to make this extra large. Font, let's make this as semi bold. And text, let's make this one as a gray. And if it's a medium, let's increase this size to 3 times extra large. And if it's a larger screen, let's increase this one to 4 times XL, just making sure responsive. Okay, fine. So that's the thing. I think for this one, let's have some margin at the top so that there's a space between the about text and this. And text, I'm just going to apply this balance. Okay, and text, let's make this one the smaller size. Color, let's have this gray 300, and it's a medium. I'm just going to apply this text base large size to be larger. Okay, fine. Yeah, so that's just the text. Fine. So now let's say we have the images generated and all, so that's this is the div that will be showcasing those images. So here, let me just close this, and inside this I will use this image component. So placeholder, let's just have this blur, and the blur data URL, whatever. For this, let's also have we can have the placeholder URL if you want, or else I can just leave this as empty. Okay, so width I can set this one to 21,024, and height let's set this one to 768. And now the source, that's the actual image that will be showcasing. So this data image png, and this is base 64. And now here I'm just going to provide base 64 JSON to this. Okay, and let's for now keep this alt text as empty. Okay, fine. And also now the styling for this div, what I wanted to do first, let's on this main div, let's have some okay, so okay, I'm receiving an error. Okay, that's fine. Let me just check this. Okay, the error, it's because we are trying to call an endpoint which we haven't created. It's not generate images, it's generate image. So that's the error. And also I need to set in the API keys only then I'll be able to get the output. So that I have those API keys, so I'm just going to use them, but you can create your own and get the thing. So I'm just going to hide those keys from you guys. So for now I'm just going to paste all of this thing. Okay, so now let's try to see if I type something. I think I should be able to make a call. Okay, uh, that's because I need to set in the next config that you should expect the images to be shown from this protocol. So I'm just going to set in this protocol this HTTPS and this host name. It's going to be this api.together.ai. Okay, yep. So let me just restart this again. So going back here, let me just refresh this application. Okay, so let's just try with simple word. Okay, that's because I should provide in here for the blur image. So let me just remove this and try this one again. Yep, so now we are good. So the car that is generated from that service which we just created, we are able to display. So the placeholder and all will come back. So just if you don't have anything, just to make sure that the size of the image that we're showcasing, there's a border around it or something like placeholder showcasing that. That's where we'll be showcasing the images generated. That's fine. So now we have the image that we're trying to showcase. Of course, we need to style it a bit. So this div, what I'm going to do, let's make this flex and width to be a full width, and max width let's occupy 4 times XL, and also this direction to be column. Justify, I'm just going to center them. And coming down to styling of the image thing, what I'm going to do, let's make this one as the dynamic thing. So based upon if we are fetching, then I'm going to showcase this animate pulse. Okay, so if not, nothing. Okay, and the max width, let's set this one to full, and also this, let's have this rounded corners. Okay, the LG. Okay, and I'm just going to apply this object cover to this image, and I'm just going to add in small shadow, and the shadow color I'm just going to set this to black. Okay, so that's just the image styling. Below this div, I'm going to add in a div where we are going to showcase the list of the images that we are generating. So I'm just going to make this as a flex and some gap between them, and overflow, or let's have in the X direction scroll, and some padding at the bottom. And we are going to iterate through this generations list and get the generated image along with that the index. So inside this, now I'm just going to have this button. So key, unique key, we're going to set the index, and the styling for this, let's just set this width to be 32, and shrink I'm just going to set it to 0, and opacity let's set this one to 50, and on hovering let's set this back to 100. So just the better experience. Okay, on click, what we need to set is, we need to set that as an active index. So we have this variable, so I'm just going to set whatever the index that user is trying to click on, and here I'm just going to have this image. So again, width 24, height, let's have this 768, and source. So basically what I can do, let me just, whatever we have here, I'm just going to take this and use the same here, except that instead of this is going to be generated image dot image dot b64 JSON. Okay, yep. And okay, yeah, I think the div is not closed, and that's why we are seeing this issue. Where is this? Yep, so in here I'm going to close this div. Yep, I think now we should be good. So if I just type car, okay, now we have in here below. Okay, so if I just, so this is what I was talking about. So now our opacity is back to 100 and we are generating this one. That's fine. I think maybe if the styling is not good, we can just go ahead and change it, but the intent is not for that. It's just to integrating of how to generate the real time and how to handle this rate limiting generation, and also the observability that we are going to keep track of. Okay, so that's this application. I think it's just the simple one API integration and the simple just one component in our main page that we interacted with. Maybe the styling, we can tweak that to whatever the need. I know the text area gray color and also API key gray color is not looking great, but it's fine. Okay, so this is the simple application that I wanted to showcase to you guys. And so if you want, I can just showcase here. What I wanted to rocket in the midst of US White House. Wow. Okay, so this is what we got, and it's looking good. And we can see we can just change back to whatever the images was generated before, and that's this thing. Okay, I think hopefully I think I did provide some value to you guys from this video, and thank you. And I'm going to come up with a lot of exciting stuff in the coming videos again. So again, like I ask in all videos, all I ask of you guys is to like, share and subscribe. That's that. Thank you so much.